Alright, so I'm going to be talking about propulsion blocks, and what they are is an order block that retests another order block. So as you can see here, we have this bearish order block right here. Now, why is this an order block? Because we swept liquidity here, right? We swept this liquidity, and we also formed a market structure shift to the downside. So this order block is our CISD. Up here we have an SMT. So we have this closed candles. They're broken through, and it creates a market structure shift. And we have these two closed candles here, and you can see how they dig back into this order block here. And once price displaces away from it, forming this fair value gap, this becomes our propulsion block. This becomes our propulsion block because this by itself is a order block, right? And this right here is an order block also. So we have this order block and this order block. And if you look closely, this order block comes and taps into this order block up here, right? So that makes this order block, the one that taps into the previous order block, a propulsion block. And when a propulsion block is created, you don't want to see consequent encroachment, which is the midpoint. All right, so I'm going to now, and I will be looking to take a trade targeting this low. And I'm going to enter my slow position because this right here is our immediate rebalance. And then we should attack these relative equal lows down here. Then my stop loss would be just above here. Just a little bit like that. Because now this whole candle here becomes our balanced price range. And I don't want to get you guys too confused. So and my overall bias is bearish. So this aligns with my already existing narrative on price. And if order flow is bearish, then you want to see closed candles act as resistance. So I want to see this candle here, the opening price, act as resistance. So you can see here, this down closed candle starts to act as resistance, and we tap back into this balanced price range. So from here, I'm going to reduce my stop loss to break even, just below this high, or above this high. Because now this closed candle should act as resistance. So I'm just gonna mark this as R for resistance. And I'm gonna mark this as resistance also. And if you draw your standard deviation from the high to the low of the manipulation line, you can see it lines up with our -2 and -2.5 standard deviation. And I'm targeting this low because if you look on the 5-minute, the 15-minute, you can see how we have this low, and you might think that this low has already been swept, but this just becomes relative equal lows. If it just like sweeps it like a couple of ticks, that's not a true sweep. That just leaves behind relative equal lows. So now we're tapping back into this fair value gap here. And this is going to be a 3.2 RR trade. So the idea behind this trade was we swept out, since my bias is already bearish, I wanted to see a morning manipulation to take out this low, specifically this low, because this was an 830 low, which was the news low. So to be more specific, this is our, let me check. So this is our CPI news low or data low rate. And generally these news low or data lows have a lot of liquidity resting below them. So my target are these relative equal lows, but price is gravitating towards the data low. if that makes sense. So in the morning we had a manipulation swing between 9:29 and 9:31. Why was this a manipulation swing? Because we've manipulated higher here, right? This quick move up, we run up, sweep out this buy side. Sorry, I'm gonna call my brother, but we sweep out these buy stops and look at the reaction we make after we sweep it. Immediate displacement down, creating a market structure shift. So this right here is our morning manipulation. And on top of that, we have an SMT, right, which just adds to our confluence. And then we also had this order block, this change in state of delivery. And we had this other order block that came to retest it. And we displaced again, creating a propulsion block. And then we rebalance to this 1 minute fair value gap. Now this right here could have been your second entry. But for me personally, I wouldn't take this just because we've already swept this low, right? So I'm not confident until we get this move down and we get an immediate rebalance. So once we get that immediate rebalance, I enter in short because I know that this immediate rebalance becomes our balanced price range, meaning price shouldn't see higher than this area here, because if it does, then we might just switch sides and start attacking these buy side, if that makes sense. And I do want to look at ES, just because if ES takes this low up first, then I'm going to get out my trade on NQ. This is our order block or our resistance. Yeah, honestly, I want this 1 minute fair value gap to hold. Yeah, because I think if it breaks, then we're gonna sweep all this buy side that we've been generating on the move down. Alright, so the rest of the recording got cut off. I don't know how, but our TP got hit. As you can see here, this is our CPI low, our data lows, and this was my relative equal lows. Trade. So I'm gonna go over a propulsion block again. So a propulsion block is an order block that retests another order block. So let me just draw that schematic. So say we have this accumulation phase right here, and we break above it, we break down it. Let me draw that again. So we have this accumulation phase here, and then we break above it, and we manipulate price like how we have it here, and then we displace back down. So from this price leg right here is our manipulation leg, and then we come back up, and then we see lower prices, right? So that's essentially what's happening here, right? Accumulation, then I have our manipulation phase up here. This would be our manipulation phase, and this would be our distribution and our market structure shift. So this would be our distribution and our market structure shift right here, right? So this becomes our market structure shift. So we sweep buy side, right? We sweep these buy stops that's resting above here, and this right here is our order block, right? That's our order block. And let's say we have a fair value gap that's resting in there, right? So the candle that comes to fill this fair value gap and rebalance this order block right here, if it is an up closed candle and we displace through it like we have here, that becomes our propulsion block. So as you can see, we have an order block right here that retests a previous order block. So this order block becomes a propulsion block, right? It's the same thing right here: accumulation, manipulation, we have distribution. And in this price leg right here, these three up close candles here, right? This one, this one, this one, that is our order block. Right? See how we displace through it? This now becomes our order block or change in state delivery. And when we come back up, these two up close candles that you can see here, right? These two up close candles, this becomes our order block. Because you see how it comes to retest this previous order block here, and we displace away from it, right? We break below that low with displacement. So this becomes a new order block, but it's classified as a propulsion block because it retested a previous order block. And when you have a propulsion block, you don't want to see the consequent encroachment of it, right? So in this case, we never tap into the propulsion block, and we never tap into consequent encroachment. But if you like using the wicks, because you can use the wicks of the body, but me personally, I like using the body. So if I use the body, we never tap back into the propulsion block. But if you use the wicks, then we do tap into the propulsion block here, right? If you were to use the wicks, we did tap into the propulsion block, and not only that, but we never tapped the consequent encroachment of it, right? So either way, however you want to use it. So that was just like my how I gauged order flow during this trade.